Kicks 105.5. Good morning. I'm JJ. It's Wednesday, October 27th. Your time is 7:51 and it's 44 degrees outside. And as we do every Wednesday, we have in the studio with us Mike Barrett.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning, Mike.
How are you?
I am well, thank you.
Good. Another day.
It is another day.
Yeah. So this morning, for good policies, what I wanted to start with was a little bit about my dog. So interestingly enough, my dog Charley, a 5-year-old yellow lab, has developed some kind of an allergic reaction to something. We noticed it on Friday, and a visit to the vet, and then it got worse on Saturday, so a visit to the emergency vet, which was in Littleton. Thank God they're there. So I had him treated twice. Seemed to get better on Sunday, and then worse on Monday. So we're dealing with this allergy reaction that's just a continuous thing with having to treat with Benadryl and prednisone, a steroid. And so it got me thinking, the value of pet insurance. As an insurance agent, I have it because, I have to practice what I preach, right? But it's this type of situation with Charley where I'm really in an unknown territory now. I really don't know what is going on with my dog. And he's a furry family member. He is our buddy. He's part of the family. So we're going to do whatever we can to make sure we figure out what's going on and take care of it appropriately with the help of the veterinary folks that we use. So for us, this pet insurance is going to come in mightily handy because we opted for a plan that has an unlimited amount of coverage every year with a $500 deductible and a 100% copay. So it's going to hopefully kick in pretty quick because I think we've hit the $500 mark now, and now help us with keeping Charley healthy. So I thought that, especially when I was waiting at the Littleton vet on Saturday, I was in my vehicle for a number of hours just because they were so busy in their parking lot. And I go, gosh, this is really an opportune time to talk about pet insurance. There's multiple options out there. You can choose the limit, the deductible, the copay. You can choose to have wellness coverage on it. You can choose to have exam coverage on it. There's a lot of options. So if you have a furry, a loved one, a cat or a dog, we have a couple of options at our office for pet insurance, but not even just us. Look for it. If it's something, I think about my black lab who had breast cancer when she was 12. She had to have a double mastectomy at the age of 12, and we would have done whatever it took to keep her healthy. Luckily, it was a fairly easy procedure, and she recovered, and she lived a number more years. But when things like this happen, you want to make sure you're protected. And some of the plans I have even do all kinds of incredible cancer treatments, hip issues, things like that. So have a dialogue. It's worth it. It's not necessarily cheap. It's going to be a couple $100 to maybe just shy of $1,000 a year, depending on your coverage needs and your animal. But have the dialogue and just figure out if it's something that would work for you and your family.
So that would, that could extend to more than just a dog or a cat, say a horse.
This is just for dogs or cats.
Just for dogs.
This particular coverage is just for dogs or cats. So for livestock, there is livestock mortality coverage out there with other companies. And that could be a whole other dialogue for the prized horse or the prized cow, if you have a good bloodline and things, you want to make sure they're protected. But no, for this particular discussion, it's really just cats and dogs. So sorry to the iguanas, sorry to the ferrets, and sorry to the fish. I don't have an option for them. I wish I did.
But a hamster's a furry friend.
I know. But right now, that's not part of what we have to offer. But this is definitely something to think about, especially if you're a pet person who, I find that most of the people that have pet insurance are people who had a pet who went through a real challenge, not financially necessarily in terms of going poor or anything, but realizing that they're putting a lot of money out there and would continue to do so as needed. So there you go.
Awesome. Well, one other thing I was thinking about this morning, thinking about our interview, and we got Halloween coming up. That means it's going to be evening. There's going to be trick-or-treaters out there. There's going to be people walking their dogs out there. And so what can you tell me about that?
Sure. So let's talk about basically Halloween is a liability. Let's just put a fun emphasis on that. So Halloween is going to be a liability for you as the homeowner, for you as a person driving a vehicle. You've got kids and parents and furry friends crossing the street in the evening hours. So you want to make sure you're very aware of that. God forbid if something happens, and even if a kid darted out in front of you, it's going to be calling on your auto liability insurance for any bodily injury to anyone you strike. But on top of that, one thing that I've often wanted to point out to people is, now all of a sudden, whether welcome or not, people are going to be coming to your front door. So make sure it's safe. There's been cold Halloweens in the past where I've seen people, in the kindness of their hearts, put out a fire pit or some kind of a warming device, or even a gas or a wood fire pit. Be careful about that, because if somebody was to sustain an injury or burn themselves, that's on your property. That's going to be your liability. It could be deemed negligent because you put out this device. So just be cognitive of things that you do in and around where people are coming onto your property, because you do have a liability for people coming on the property and sustaining an injury, whether it's due to your negligence or not. So happy Halloween on that note.
Right. So taking that and along the same principle, you got kids coming up to your house, knocking on a door, and say they got a dog, and they open up the door to greet the trick-or-treaters, and some kid is wearing some costume that freaks the dog out, and the dog attacks him.
That's going to fall under your homeowner liability because you are the owner of that dog. So if that dog injures a child, whether it be through a bite or even just a jump on the child that knocks the child back or parent back and causes injury, that's going to come back on your homeowner's insurance and be a liability payout. So if you have a dog that spooks easily, give him a treat and put him somewhere away from the door.
Right? Because, even if he, say, just barks really loudly at the kid and they stumble back off of the stairs.
Yeah, something like that's going to be hard to there's no physical interaction there, so that'd be a hard one that falls more on the child at that point. I mean, I'm sure a lawyer may have a difference of opinion on that, but you have to prove negligence. You have to prove something really occurred other than just being startled. So
well, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else you want to talk about before we run out of time?
No, that's all I have, except we are still interviewing and reviewing for our customer service position that's open at our agency right now. Details are in the Caledonian Record Help Wanted ad, and they're posted on our Facebook page. If you want to read more, you can check it all out and see if it's a position that may be right for you to apply.
Yeah. And if somebody wanted to get a hold of you about insurance or that job opportunity, how would they reach you?
Give us a call, 748-5224. We're on Portland Street in St. Johnsbury, online, thebarrettagency.com. Google, Facebook, and YouTube, Barrett Insurance Agency. And if you go to our Barrett Insurance Agency Facebook page, you'll see a little more about my dog Charley's tale of his allergy woes. So.
Right. Well, thank you, Mike, so much for coming in and sharing your abundant insurance knowledge with us.
Sure. My pleasure. Have a great day. Happy Halloween.
And have a great Halloween.
Yeah.